Do me a favor, just say and spell your name for the record.
Hi, Theresa Cullen, Theresa Cullen.
And your title.
I'm the Pima County Health Director.
Okay, I do that so when people hear it and they see it, I don't just by saying the wrong thing. Trust me, it's happened. We mislabeled the sheriff.
Oh, that would have been bad.
Yes. Yeah, so we had to call and apologize. But yeah, that's why I always do this. So
Cool.
nobody can mess it
No
up.
worries. No worries.
Okay, so let's talk about you saw that CDC thing we sent you?
Yeah.
Okay, talk about that for a second.
Well, I think the CDC data shows what we know in public health is that we have a crisis of sexually transmitted infections throughout the United States, but definitely in Arizona. We've been aware that have been seeing increasing numbers over the last 5 years. And at this point, it's really become critical.
Do you know what we're seeing the biggest increase in?
Syphilis.
Okay, so is it syphilis and is it other is a lot of sexual transmitted diseases as well or
Well,
talk
we are seeing increases in gonorrhea and chlamydia. Those are probably diseases that most people are familiar with. Actually, syphilis is an interesting disease. Dr. Osler, who is a luminary in medicine, used to say, he who knows syphilis, I would say she who knows syphilis, knows medicine, because it can present in so many different ways that it's really easy to miss it. So the real increase we're most worried about is syphilis currently in the county.
how do we stop the increase? What do we got to do?
Well, what we know is that people need to get tested to know they have syphilis. So for those of your older viewers, they will recall when they got a marriage license, they got a test, a blood test. That was a test for syphilis. So we used to test much more for syphilis than we did when I was in medical school. When you got admitted to the hospital, you got a syphilis test. We almost got rid of syphilis, and now we're seeing this incredible resurgence. So what do we do from a public health model? We obviously prevent. The way you prevent sexually transmitted diseases is by making sure you use barrier methods of birth control, like condoms. And after that, then you may not know you have syphilis. You may have no symptoms, or you may think that while you were zipping up your pants, you caught yourself, and so you have a little scratch. So at that point, we really recommend testing. And for women who are pregnant, we recommend testing at least twice during their pregnancy to prevent the transmission of syphilis to newborn babies.
How often should the average person test?
This is such a great question. The recommendation has been that in your adult life, if you have been sexually active, you should test once. If you think about it, that doesn't make a lot of sense, because as long as you are sexually active, you run the risk of acquiring syphilis. So the county itself is going to currently, let me start over. The county is going to go out with a recommendation that people consider getting annual testing if they are sexually active.
You know what group generally has the largest amount of syphilis?
Well, our data is probably consistent with what we're seeing in the rest of the United States. So people that have decreased access to care are more at risk, right? So the population that's unhoused, the population that has multiple sexual partners, people that are unable to get access to care, those are considered the risky population. However, we see multiple people that don't fall into those categories that have syphilis.
Okay, my final question, because I know you have to go, and that is just tell people what are the results of prolonged syphilis?
Yeah, so syphilis, it's a progressive disease. It's called primary, secondary, and then tertiary syphilis. So primary syphilis is just very similar to other sexually transmitted disease. You might have some discharge, you might have some sores, and then secondary syphilis progresses. Ultimately, you can get what we call neurosyphilis, where you have brain involvement. So it's a very serious disease. The really great news is that it's easily treatable. It's 1 to 3 shots of penicillin, depending upon where you are in the course of the disease. If you're allergic to penicillin, there are oral medications available. So we really want to encourage people who think they be at risk to please get tested. And I'll do a plug for the Pima County Health Department clinics. Our clinics offer free testing. You can walk in or you can make an appointment if you're concerned.
Doctor, thank you so much for your time.